Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. You know, the name Roadrunner has been synonymous with performance for decades, as seen in this 1972 Plymouth. Well, guess what? Roadrunner is still where you want to go for high-performance products. Roadrunner Performance. I know you guys are known for your hoses and connectors, so I want to talk about the hoses that you make. How do they stand out from the competition that's out there?
One of the biggest things that we do, Dave, is we send everything out for testing along with internal testing. This is kind of evident right here. We took a put-together hose, 9,800 PSI burst. We came out with a crimp style, which is 10,000 burst on the hose, which that is your max rating for a hose.
Right.
That's all it should ever take, but the connectors are still intact.
We just had a couple racers in here looking at these, and they were blown away by these quick connectors that you have here.
Well, one of the cool things about the quick connects that we made is we made them very universal. So your bodies will always flow an 8, even though you put a 6 on the end or an 8 on the end, it doesn't matter. So it made them very universal. Another thing that we were able to do when we did this was that we made them female or male. So you're not buying 20 fittings to create the same job.
To create 10 connections.
Correct.
Now you have a smaller one here, which is for brake lines, is that correct?
Yeah, so we made one for brake lines. We have drifters, we have off-road guys that just have these built on a different system. So if they take out a caliper, they take out a spindle, they can just slam a new one on, plug it in and go. There's no bleeding necessary.
And those aren't the only connectors you have. You have some filters here we should talk about.
Yeah, we keep a variety of filters. These are for more your carbureted ones and things like that, which have different colors. And then we also have fuel injection, which we carry in 2 different colors. One's a high pressure and one's a lower pressure.
Myriad connectors here to look at. Kind of walk us through what you brought.
One of the neat things that we did is we made a connection here. Instead of having the old school plastic type, this actually threads in and it's bored down for a 2 O-ring in style inside it.
Which is huge. If you have the 2 O-rings, with 1 O-ring, this is going to be bouncing all around and everything. With 2 O-rings makes it more stable there.
Correct, and you're able to lock it down with a wrench instead of depending on a plastic fitting.
Very cool. And I know you have some other fittings here as well.
We do a cutting edge fitting right here. We actually turn it one more time just to be different because black is really big right now, but you want something that'll show off the stainless line. We also have a titanium fitting, which is starting to become really popular. People like having the dual colors.
And I really like these vise jaws here. Magnetic to stick to your vise, and it's not going to score your fittings as well.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why we made 2 different styles. We have aluminum and a Bakelite, basically. Customer's choice, it depends.
And finally, this wrench. I love this.
This is the way I designed this wrench. You'll never have an issue with a fitting. When you put a fitting in, you can tighten it, you can loosen it, and you'll never damage your fitting. So on your show cars and on your nice cars, you won't damage them. On your off-road trucks, they put these on the trucks and carry them with them because these will never fail you. We have not received one back in 5 years.
Well, we've got hoses, connectors, and tools to make everything easier. Check them out at roadrunnerperformance.com. If you drive a diesel vehicle that's been made in about the last decade, you've got a piezo injector in it. And if you drive a truck, you've got one like this Bosch style right here. Now, these things will go for hundreds of thousands of miles until they don't.
The most common point of failure for an injector is poor quality fuel, either through fuel contamination, water in the fuel, debris in the fuel from a failure upstream on a high pressure pump, something like that. These injectors are incredibly durable otherwise. In a good condition, without any other problems, they could last 300,000 miles.
So what specifically goes wrong inside these injectors?
The most common point of failure on a piezo type injector from the Bosch would be this valve right here. This is a control valve. It's a small poppet valve. It's actually controlling the injector's on and off response of the nozzle. It's holding back 29,000 pounds of pressure and diesel fuel, and any leakage at that valve will give the injector a high return flow situation. The nozzle won't act as snappy, as quick to open and shut as it should.
Tolerances get sloppier.
Tolerance gets sloppier. Second big failure point is this amplifier assembly. This is actually what's transmitting the force of the piezo expanding and contracting inside the injector to the control valve itself. They are very wear resistant, but they're also very high tolerance. And if there's any abrasive or metallic debris in the fuel, they will lock up and that injector will just quit.
You told me earlier, since 2011, Bosch hasn't had a remanufacturing solution for this, but you've come up with one.
Once we've electrically tested the injector, verified the piezo condition, we will clean them both externally and internally with a ultrasonic heated bath. We have got a process we've developed to reassemble and recondition the amplifier assemblies so that the injector has a proper function right out of the gate. We've developed a process to recondition the seat and poppet valve sealing surfaces on a control valve. We've sourced nozzles from a well-established supplier in Italy that's been building diesel parts since the 1920s. All new internal sealing rings and gaskets. Parts are measured on a computer-controlled measurement system, properly shimmed out to give it the set pretension of springs, and finally tested on a computer-controlled hydraulic test bench that has a program that mimics the operation of the injector in the truck. Operates at a full 2,000 bar, 29,000 psi pressure, 7-point test plan, checking full load fuel, idle, emissions points. When we're done, the test bench produces a 10-digit IQA or trim code. That's a code that allows the installer to tune that injector to the truck, and it is unique to our process for the piezo type injectors.
Well, you can bring your lazy or dead diesel engine back to life thanks to Phoenix Technique. You can check them out at phoenix-technique.com. We'll return with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, so keep it right here. More cool products to come.